A trans-Mexico musical came out this year. Guess how many Oscars it was nominated for? That's right, 13 Oscar nominations. That is more nominations than classics such as Schindler's List, Ben-Hur, Gladiator, Saving Private Ryan, and even The Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. According to the Oscars, Emilia Perez is better than all those films. A French movie that is a musical about a cartel boss who wants to fake his own death and live life as a woman. Yeah, let that sink in. Now, with the current state of Hollywood and it being 2025, you would think Emilia Perez would come in with the 13 nominations and just sweep every single award. And hell, they would even give it an extra award at the end of the show because it's so brave and bold at such a critical time. But that didn't happen. You see, the Oscars was just a couple of weeks ago, and Emilia Perez only won 2 awards. What the hell happened? But before we dive any more into this debacle, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. In late January of 2025, the Academy Awards released their nominations for the 97th Oscar. And just like every other year, it was filled with films you've seen, films you have heard of, and films you thought about checking out, but then on second thought, you didn't want to waste 4 hours of your life. Now, coming out of that 2024 election, everyone kind of had a feeling that it was going to be a little different this year. But I don't think they expected the Oscars to nominate this film for so many awards. I mean, come on guys, for real? A musical for this many awards? It wasn't even the best musical of the year. I mean, was anyone holding any space for songs in Emilia Perez like they were in Wicked? No. I don't think so. When the nomination list came out, everyone was in total shock. How can Emilia Perez have so much praise with scenes like this?
Hello, very nice to meet you. I'd like to know about sex change operation.
I see. Men to woman, or woman to men.
What the hell is even that?
This scene alone left the whole internet in a total state of confusion. Everyone was just asking,
Why?
Well, folks, today I have a conspiracy for you. Okay, stick with me here, guys. Hear me out. I think Emilia Perez was up for this many awards because the Academy wanted to make a political statement. I mean, if you look at the timeline of things, they released the nomination list well after the election results. And I think we can all agree that most of the people voting here did not like the results. So I think it's fair to say they were a little upset. They wanted a little retaliation. They wanted to send people a message that films like Emilia Perez are popular amongst fans, even though it has a 16% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Films like Emilia Perez are Oscar worthy and truly show trans experience on the big picture, even though trans people said this movie wasn't inclusive enough. Films like Emilia Perez will make sure people know that Mexican culture is strong and should be respected, even though Mexican people hated this film as well.
No.
Having a movie about a trans Mexican cartel member being praised like it's a cinematic masterpiece will show all those Republicans and right-leaning people.
See, this film's popular, you bigot.
And after seeing the reports about the voting council and how voting works in the Oscars, I think that they use their emotions more than they want you to believe. One voter revealed they didn't watch Dune 2 because the first one bored them, so they didn't want to see the second one. Another voter said they weren't in the right headspace when seeing Dune 2, so they didn't rank it. I mean, that little tidbit right there tells you exactly the type of people who are making these Oscar decisions. Now, this alleged plan was set in motion. The biggest FU to the system and to that mean orange man. Emilia Perez is gonna sweep the Oscars and probably win even more awards, being the most decorated film of all time. Nothing can derail this plan. Nothing can go wrong. It is bulletproof as long as everyone stays off Twitter. Oh, Jesus, guys, who let the trans person talk? One of the biggest downfalls you can have when starting a political movement, especially on the left-leaning side, is having your old tweets be resurfaced. Now, I'm gonna be honest, unless they said something extremely bad or distasteful, I really don't care what anyone's old tweets say. So don't look at my old tweets. Unfortunately for the star of Emilia Perez, Carla Sofia Garzon, her old tweets were brought up, and they immediately canceled her. I mean, how dare she have old tweets speaking her mind? You see, when you get canceled by people on the left or the left-leaning side, there is no forgiveness at all. One Oscar voter had this to say about the whole situation. I think it's going to have a huge effect. It left a bad taste in people's mouths. People are allowed to have their opinions, but I don't want to live in a world where a racist and a bigot is highlighted and rewarded. I was going to vote for her because I really did think she was extraordinary, but how could I now? I hope it doesn't affect Zoe. It really shouldn't. I don't think people are that stupid. Oh geez, with a comment like that, these tweets must be horrendous. They must be like nothing we've ever seen before. I mean, could this secretly be Kanye West in disguise? Referring to COVID-19 vaccines, Garzon said, "The Chinese vaccine comes with a mandatory microchip and 2 spring rolls." Oh wow, that's actually pretty funny. She also referred to George Floyd as a drug addict con artist. Ooh, I think that's the one that got her here, folks, because you cannot diss the Floydster in this community. After the scandal broke out and the tweets emerged, Garzon did try to apologize, but it just wasn't enough and it was already too late. Even if it was the greatest apology ever and she donated so much money to a George Floyd statue and even, apologized to the whole communist state of China and even brought out a ukulele and sang a song, it will never be enough for these people. And you will forever be canceled in their eyes. Fast forwarding to the Oscar show itself, of course, Carla Sofia Garzon showed up to the award show, but no one wanted anything to do with that business. And if you weren't really in tune to the whole cancellation thing, you would have thought this whole situation would have been completely odd. You would have thought the media would have ate this story up, talked about it non-stop. The first openly trans woman up for an Oscar? They would have built that tower up so high, built her up non-stop, and would not stop talking about it until the end of time. Or at least, until the first black trans woman wins an Oscar. But because of some old tweets brought up, that whole narrative was just gone. Vanished overnight. I mean, let's be honest, no one really watched the Oscars anymore. And the only really reason they tuned in this year was to see if Emilia Perez would win anything, and to see how they would handle the backlash. And spoiler alert, they only won 2 awards. And they really didn't act like Carla Sofia Garzon was even there. In the future, I think this film should be studied. Not for the acting or for the cinematography or for the music for that matter. No, it should be studied on how a political movement can crash and burn in an instant with 2, maybe 3 simple tweets. But of course, at the end of the day, I want to hear your thoughts about Emilia Perez and that 13 Oscar nominations it got. What are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comments below. Again, be sure to subscribe and like this video if you want to see more content just like this. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.